I literally, if you're watching this, you are literally watching the fastest man in the world, like Usain Bolt, who, like, he's never beat me in a race. You know what I mean? Usain Bolt, if you ever want to race, brother, let me know. I'll smoke you. I'm the fastest man in the world. Welcome back to the No One's Watching podcast. If you're watching this, you shouldn't be. If you watched the last one, you shouldn't have. And my name's Mike. If you don't know who I am, good. All right, well, I'm going to hop straight into marathon prep. I guess this is how we're going to start these things off, just because that's like first and foremost the thing that I'm doing. It seems like all the time now. I'm constantly running. So I'm going to start with that. About I think the end of week 3, so the beginning of week 4. I think tomorrow's my first run of week 4 for my, I guess my 7-month prep. I think it's a total of 26 weeks. And I had my longest run so far on Sunday, and it was a 10K. And I finished zone 2. It's kind of long and droning. I decided to go to a different park and run than the park I usually go to. Eventually, I feel like I'd want to start running on the streets or something, because just doing loops, especially like mile loops, it kind of gets a little bit frustrating. You just see the same stuff over and over again. But I mean, it's good for like knowing where you're at, and like it's good for like your mental. You know what I mean? But yeah, and it was the first time that I used a running vest. Now, I'm not like a really big like gear person, but I needed a way to get my phone out of my hands, and to have water with me, because I don't know if you have seen any of this. I know you're not supposed to be watching this, but if you have seen any of my previous pods, you would know that I'm a hefty fellow who has a hard time cooling down, especially in the heat, and it is getting real spicy outside as of recent. So yeah, I needed some water on me. I got a vest, and I had a bottle of water and a bottle of electrolytes. I brought a gel with me. I didn't end up taking it. I felt fine, so I didn't really think I needed the gel, you know. But yeah, it was kind of like I kind of have like mixed reviews of wearing the vest. One, I think I looked like an absolute freak show with a vest on. I felt like I was like, especially at a park on a 1-mile loop, people were probably like, what the hell is this guy doing? He's running like 1 or 2 laps and wearing a vest. And I mean, I only ran 6 miles, so I probably didn't need a vest. I just really needed to bring water with me, but I didn't want to spend money on a handheld water bottle, but I spent the money on a vest instead. My dog is carrying around a hat with a light on it. Hold on. Speaking of gear, my dog was just had a beanie with a light on the front of it, and he was walking around with it like he was going for a night run. I have all the lights off my house, so it was really distracting for me. I was like, what the hell's going on? Where was I? Yeah, so I mean, I just wanted to have water on me and electrolytes. I didn't want to end up buying like a handheld water bottle, especially because I think like during the marathon, I'm going to want to use a vest, and it's like kind of more justified because it's going to be 26 miles, you know, versus like 6 miles. Probably didn't need it, but you know, it's nice to like acclimate myself on my long runs. I'm probably just going to use it on my long runs, or any long run really around 10K or more is probably when I'm going to use it. I don't foresee myself using it on my next long run, which is kind of like a cutback, which is about a 7K, and like that's fine because I've done that on like a Tuesday before, and I don't really need to bring a water bottle or even like a whole entire vest for that matter. But yeah, and I've just been thinking about different gear and like things that would help me. One thing that I'm struggling with, and it is really just a pain, is sweat. And I'm not talking about like, oh, like my shirt's soaked or whatever. I'm talking about sweat in my eyes. I did a lot of my runs at the beginning with a hat on. I didn't really notice this, but like once I can't wear sunglasses and a hat at the same time, or else my body just shuts down. I just start like, it's like I feel like I can't breathe. I'm not getting any wind in my face. It's just like, it just doesn't work for me. So I have to make a choice between glasses or a hat. And most of the time I'll pick the glasses as of recent because it's super, super sunny out. And I think it's a bad decision because I just, for example, on this 10K, decided not to wear a hat. And I just wore the sunglasses, and about halfway through, I'm just getting sweat straight into my eyes. I had to end up taking the sunglasses off anyway, because the wind was drying the sweat before it could touch my eyes, or so I think. That's my hypothesis, but it just didn't affect me as much when I didn't have the glasses on. It was kind of like it was shielding the glasses were like shielding the sweat, and I was getting it. It was just pouring straight into my eyes, and I don't know, running's hard enough. I don't need to run blind, you know? But yeah, so I ended up telling my wife about this, and she's like, maybe you should get a headband. I don't think so. I look like enough of a freak with a vest on, and you're telling me to wear. Now you're telling me to wear a vest, glasses, and a headband? Like what am I doing? I'm running, and I'm only gonna run 6 miles. You know what I mean? Like that's a little crazy to me. That's a little far fetched. I don't really foresee myself doing something like that because and it's funny because I was thinking about it and I was like I'm really worried about how I look. You know, like I'm worried about the optics, but here I am on doing this thing right here where I'm making a podcast where no one's supposed to be watching. I'm just putting everything out into the ether anyway. So, but and I do have a deviated septum, so I thought about nose strips too, which is crazy because I don't want to do that. But would it help me? Probably. But I don't want to be like a guy just covered in gear, you know? Like I feel like that's too much. It comes a point where it's too much. And like sure, like I'd like to be able to run a marathon without a vest on, but I'm gonna need to be able to have stuff on me, you know? Like where do I put my phone if I don't have a vest? Maybe I'm a fanny pack guy. And like I can get down with the fanny pack. I don't really care about the optics of a fanny pack because I feel like it's like it's way cooler than wearing like a little fucking a little vest. You know, and I have a fanny pack already. I probably want to get one that's more built for what I'm doing, so there's not as much like jumping around of all the stuff that's in there. But yeah, I might have to be like a fanny pack guy, fanny pack nose strip headband guy. It's crazy. But yeah, and the family, everyone's kind of gotten on. We have a family vacation coming up, and everyone's kind of gotten on this like this little running and mileage kick for the month of June. We're all doing 100 miles in the month of June. It's like a family challenge that we're doing, and I think there's about 10 of us doing it. So everyone's posting their times and I'm really just getting tossed into the humbler here, you know? Like I'm just like I've been running for 6 months. I'm in like the best shape I've been in a while. And like my wife will just go run a 5K and she'll just smoke my time by like 3-4 minutes. And now obviously I'm running zone two. You know, she's pushing a little bit. She's pushing it. She's not running zone two. You know what I mean? She's busting her butt to beat me by that much time. You know, but you know it is what it is, and I have to take a step back. Remember what I'm doing this for. Follow the training, and don't get caught up in the competition. You know what I mean? Like the competition is just 100 miles in June. I should be able to get my 100 miles as long as I'm walking on breaks at work and with my running. If I just do solely running, I'll probably be around 70 miles this month. But I'm gonna have to start walking on like my breaks and stuff. But yeah, it's just like the whole family. It's just like everyone's running, everyone's getting out there, everyone's running faster than me. Do you know what that feels like? So that I'm throttling myself and just watching people just smoke my times because I have to follow a plan. You know, it takes discipline. You know, not many people be able to do it. You know, I could barely do it, but you know, I just gotta reel. Sometimes you gotta reel yourself in. You don't want to get overzealous and torch your training. You know, they're in it for the short game. You know, they're doing it for a month. I'm doing it for 7. So, and they'll be done. They'll be done soon. I think we've got like 25, 26 days left of this challenge, and or probably less now, 22. Yeah, 22 days left of the challenge, and they'll be done after that. But me, I'm be going for the next 6 months. So I got to make sure that I'm staying on track and doing my thing. Not worry about the competition. Just more worry about the miles. You know. But yeah, every single person in the family's posting faster times than me right now, and they all just started. So it kind of hurts the ego a little bit, but on a positive note, I've been complimented 2-3 times on my calves, and you know I've been a big boy for a while, and good calves come with the territory. I like to think that there's only like a couple ways to get good calves, and one is just genetics. You're just born with absolute hams for calves. 2, you work really, really, really hard and grow your calves, and that's something that you worry about. And you go into the gym day in, day out. You work calves every day. You work arms and calves, superset. That's what you're doing every single day. You know what I mean? You're in the gym, making it happen. It's just straight will and discipline. Or, which I like to think is the easiest route, is you just hit like 300 pounds and you sustain 300 pounds for a while, and you get big calves. And I think that's the most consistent way of growing your calves. If you ever struggled growing calves or anything like that, just get fat. You can literally get fat in like a year instead of working for like 5 years to grow your calves. Like if you have, say you have piss poor genetics, right? Instead of going to the gym every day and working calves for like 2 or 3 years, maybe even 5, you can literally just do like 10% of the work and just stuff your little piggy fat face until you're 300 pounds, and then sustain 300 pounds for like 2 years, and then cut the weight. You'll probably have the same size, maybe smaller, maybe bigger calves. And like my wife was like wondering why like that's such a big deal to get complimented on your calves, and like why men are like super happy when they get complimented on their calves. I think it's because the ways that you can get calves are like far and few in between. Like there's only 3 ways to do it, and they're all hard in their own right. Maybe I guess besides the genetics, like some people are just blessed with calves, but even if you're blessed with calves, if if you don't work them still, you're probably not gonna get compliments on them, right? But if you do the long route and you work hard and you get the calves, like you deserve a compliment or two. You know what I mean? Like those things that like that you'd expect that people would appreciate the amount of work you put in. Or if you're a big boy, it's like you wear shorts and you flaunt those things, and and it's easy. I'm telling you, it's easy when you're 300 pounds to get good calves, because you're 300 pounds. Your body's constantly moving that weight, and it makes it. I think it just speeds up the process. But yeah, so like I got complimented 3 times on my calves this past week, and it feels good, especially because like maybe like I already know I have like had like good calves. I have like 18-inch calves. Like they're like some thick boys. I've had them for a while, but I'm thinking the running is maybe cutting them up a little bit, maybe getting a little bit leaner, maybe adding some shape to the leg a little bit. So that's nice. It's nice to hear, gives me like, oh, it's like, oh, thank you. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, thanks. It's like like I see all these things on like Instagram or like TikTok or whatever. And it's just like, what do you get a man instead of flowers? Compliment his calves. Tell him he's got nice calves. You'll see like you probably have like a boyfriend or husband. So he's like a big jack dude, 230 pounds, like 6'3", and you're like, hey man, you got nice calves. He'll look at you like a little girl with big eyes and be like, you really? Do you mean it? That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me. You know what I mean? And even if he doesn't have nice calves, like just compliment his calves, see what he does, see how he acts, see how he responds. But yeah, I mean, my calves aren't really for show. I mean, it's nice to be complimented on them, but they serve a purpose. I actually have a story about this. So when I was in high school, I think my senior year, I had a class. It was a robotics class, and I don't remember the teacher's name. I don't remember, but we had this is one day where he was like, we're gonna take class outside today," and he took us to a hill, and he's like, "All right, guys," he's like, "we're gonna measure horsepower today." And I was like, whoa, that seems pretty cool. I'd love to know how many horses I can pull if you strap them to my back. You know what I mean? And so the way he did it was he had us run on this hill, and he calculated the incline of the hill with the total mass of the person, and then the speed in which they ran up the hill. I think that was like the formula or whatever, something along those lines. And at the time I was around 230 to 250, I would say. In high school, yes, told you, been a big boy for a minute. 230 to 250. I played football. That's why I was that big. But yeah, so 230 to 250, and I ran up the hill relatively fast. And he was kind of like dumbfounded, right? He's like, usually when people get halfway up the hill, they slow down. He's like, you just got faster. And I was like, yeah, man, I'm just an absolute animal. I'm probably the fastest guy you've ever met in your life, And so he ends up doing all the totals for everybody, and a couple guys just like, yeah, you got 1 horsepower. Oh, look at that guy, he got 1.24. The running back for the football team was in my class, and he got a 1.7, I think. Not even close, not even close to me. 1.96. I basically have 2 horsepower. So if for those of you who don't know how horsepower works, that means if you were to strap, like say like tug of war style, and I was wearing like a harness or something, and you were to tie a rope to my side of the harness, and you put 2 harnesses around 2 horses, and you tied the rope to them as well, it'd be a stalemate. Like on if you use like people that tie tractor to tractor and like somewhere somewhere in the south, and they'll just go in opposite directions so you can pull who. If you tie me to two horses, it'll be a stalemate. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. Don't quote me on that, but yeah, I have 2 horsepower. Not sure if I still have it, but I had 2 horsepower at one point, and like also like your lawnmower probably has 2 horsepower or more. It might have more. If you just have a normal push lawnmower, it might have more than 2 horsepower. The motor, pretty sure it does. But yeah, no, yeah. So calves aren't for show. They're straight power plants. It's just absolute. It's just output. They just help the output a lot, So moving my big ass body around, my little fat piggy body around, takes a lot of energy, and over time it's just built the calves. But the one part about the family challenge that has gotten me excited, right? So I don't know. In one of the previous episodes, I talked about how like when I announced to the family that I was going to be doing this marathon, they were all just like, "Oh, just going straight to a marathon. Don't want to run don't want to run a 5K first, or maybe even a 10K, maybe a half marathon. Like you're out of your mind. What are you doing?" All right. So my response was basically like, grandmas can run 5Ks. Why would I do a 10K? And why would I do a half marathon? Like just say I went halfway. That doesn't make any sense to me. You know what I mean? I go full tilt in everything I do. And majority of the time it's on a whim, but yeah, the person who said it was my brother-in-law, right? So for this challenge, we're all using Strava, which is like a running app, and Strava owns the other app that I use for my training plan anyway, Runna. So I've been using Strava already, but we made a group on Strava, and we're all doing the challenge on there, and everyone's like logging their miles, doing whatever, blah blah blah. Like every time you do an activity, you post to the group, so on and so forth. So on my last run, which was on Sunday, it was my 10K. I subtweeted him, or substrava'd him, and I was just like, and for those of you who don't know, if you're like subtweeting someone, you're basically like, hey, like you're basically just like talking shit. Like back in the day, I don't know if people still do it. I don't really use Twitter too often, but back in the day, you would basically just like freely, openly talk shit about somebody without telling anyone who you're talking about. So I guess it's not really like openly, but you're just like putting it out into the ether. You're not really telling anybody. This is not the same as what I did on Strava. I basically like added him, and I was basically just like, hey Bob, there's your 10K, just another Sunday. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't like, oh, I'm not gonna, like he was like, because I messaged him back and forth, and go back and forth on like Instagram Messenger, and like he sends me stuff, I send him stuff, but we were talking about it, and he's like, hey. Or I was like, yeah, I gotta run a 10K on Sunday. He's like, oh, like what, like a race? Just a normal Sunday, no race. This is what we do now. Sunday 10K. How you doing? Right. So that just gave me like made me feel like, gave me warm and fuzzies on the inside. I got butterflies in my stomach being able to say, hey, there's that 10K you wanted, brother. You know what I mean? Just felt fantastic. And he ended up running a 5K after I sent that. He said I got him off the couch because I did that, which is nice. We love negative reinforcement around here. That's kind of what we thrive on. And I was we don't really like positive vibes. We like to call people out on their stuff, and hopefully they change. Probably cut that part out, but yeah, I'm a big proponent of negative reinforcement. We don't like the positive stuff. We like the negatives, call people out and stuff. But I mean, they made the sub Strava. It should be a new thing. But yeah, I mean, I really don't have anything to talk about this week. That's basically everything I had written down. But yeah, me and my wife have been going back and forth because she ran her 5K like much faster than me, and when you see that stuff, it hurts. When you see it hurts. But she's kind of like on the low, just trying to beat other, like some of her cousins and stuff, like on the low. But like it's like they have no idea, but she's just trying to beat their times. And in that process, she ended up beating my time. And but I was like, and she was like, just like talking shit. So I was just like, hey, well, you didn't beat this person though. You didn't beat your cousin. She was like, yeah, but I'm still faster than you. And it's cute, you know? She thinks she's faster than me. There's absolutely no way. And it's just like maybe you beat me in a 5K. Maybe you beat me in a 5 mile run. Maybe you beat me in a 10 mile run. But you'll never beat me in a 40-yard dash. That's where I thrive. I've always been the fastest man on the planet. I literally, if you're watching this, you are literally watching the fastest man in the world, like Usain Bolt, who he's never beat me in a race. You know what I mean? Usain Bolt, if you ever want to race, brother, let me know. I'll smoke you. I'm the fastest man in the world. So I'll just touch on basically a little bit, I guess, about my background and all the different jobs I had, right? And I think that's cool. I think that's fun. I'm not gonna name any of the stuff that I do. I'm not gonna name what I do now, but I'll probably leave it a couple of years in the past here. So yeah, I mean, just to give you like a little bit of background about basically what formed me to be the human that I am today was it's just the different working environments I've been in, and I think they're interesting, right? So when I was in high school, I worked at an Bollywood, or I guess I was going to say an Indian movie theater, but it was like a Bollywood themed movie theater. Where I grew up, there was a large population of like Indian people, and I learned a lot about the culture, I learned a lot about the food, learned a lot about how their movies are and all that kind of stuff. And I worked there for about 2 years. After that, I believe I went to I went to college after that. So I worked there for 2 years when I was in high school. Went to college, didn't work. Came back from college. I only went to college for like a year, and then I transferred back home, and I was going to transfer to a school there. Ended up being a server in a dine-in movie theater for about 6, 7 months, and then I got into like the trades. I started working refrigeration for like a solo guy as a helper, and I eventually went into heating, cooling, and plumbing for like 2, 3 months, and then I ended up going into the military, and I was there for 5 years. Right. So if you just take all that stuff and put together, right? I worked in a Bollywood movie theater. I worked in a regular movie theater as a server. I worked in a couple different trade jobs, and then I was in the military. And then after the military, I did like door to door sales. Kind of been all over the place. And like I said, I'm 29 years old. Started working at 16. So just trying to condense it. The longest that I've been anywhere has been the military, and that's just because I had to after I already made the decision. Like I said before, and I do things on a whim, and I joined the military on like 2 months before I shipped. So it was just like I just kind of like made a choice one day that I was gonna do it. Went to hit up a bunch of different recruiters for every single branch because I didn't have a branch in mind. Ended up going with the first one that hit me back, and it's one of the best decisions of my life. But it's kind of like paved the path for me back and now on the civilian side, and that's nice. But yeah, I mean, going back to the first job, like I like think about that, like working as a white dude in an Indian movie theater, and it's just a cast of characters. Like my sister got me the job, and she wasn't there when I ended up working there. Like she's already been gone for like a year or two, but she got me the job there, and I was working with a bunch of people that I like. Half the people I knew from just like going to school with them, and the other half of the people were like all like way older. And the way that the theater was set up was like it was like from like the 60s. It felt like half the theater was like back in time, and then the other half of the theater was like new-ish. Like they didn't have like IMAX or anything like that, but like they probably updated all their stuff in like 2010. And I think IMAX was around 2010, but they probably went like with like budget equipment for like 2010. I think I started working there like 2015-ish, 2013. But yeah, like half the theater was like in shambles, and the other half was like kind of like up to date and whatnot. And like when you're in those old theaters, it's like real dicey, and like everything was like it looked like you drank a bunch of blue ices and then threw up everywhere. Like that's was the color of the theater was. It was like a weird like tealish, bluish green color. Like all the seats, the floors, the curtains, everything was like a weird, very like an 80s 90s themed stuff, and it was all on the 25 millimeter or 16 millimeter, whatever it is. And and you had to like you'd have to feed the film through like the projector, and like make sure everything was like running correctly. And I don't remember what it was. I think it was Avengers, like Civil War came out or something. One of the Avengers movies came out. And it was Captain America Civil War. I don't know the Marvel movies like that, but it was one of the Avengers movies, the one that starts in like a wooded area and they're like fighting in the woods somewhere. Like I remember that vividly. But when that one came out, they had it on one of those on one of the in one of those theaters, and it's just like they'd put all the American movies in those theaters, like in the real like shitty theaters because like they weren't expecting anybody to come in. The tickets were like super cheap, so like around that time I think it was like $15 a ticket for like if you went to like an AMC or like a Lowe's theater or like a whatever the other ones are called, like a Cinemark or whatever they're called, Regal. But it would be like 12, $15 to go there, but like at this theater is like $5. It's like $5 to $8 to get in. So like all my buddies would be like, hey, like what movies are you putting on like the in the old theaters? And like we tell them, and it's like, okay, we're gonna come through and like watch this movie. And I'm just like, hey, I mean, I guess make sure you like get your tetanus shot or whatever. I don't know what's on these seats, and like you could go in that theater and you'd be the only one in there, and it's just a weird vibe. It's like super creepy, and like especially on like closing shifts, we're like, I'm gonna go clean theater 6, and people are just like, do you have your rosary beads with you? You know what I mean? Like something's definitely in there, and like people would tell you like, yeah, man, I was like all the older heads would be like, yeah, I was cleaning these theaters back there, and like I saw like a little girl and like all this shit. And it's like, what the hell are you talking about? Like, why would you tell that to me? Like, I'm about to go clean these theaters by myself. Like, what are you doing? You trying to scare the shit out of me? But yeah, I mean, it was like 2 years of just causing an absolute ruckus in that place. Like, we kind of like ran the show. Like, I ended up getting a bunch of my like buddies from like my friend group hired, and like we would all just do whatever we wanted while we were there. It was great, and it was majority of the business. Like when it was busy, it was just like you're not gonna be like messing around or anything. But like when it was dead, which was like I would say like 75% of the time, unless there was like a big Bollywood movie coming out, it was like one of the only places that you can go and watch like Bollywood movies, unless somebody would go rent out a theater in like AMC or Regal or something, and they would put it on themselves. And then they would invite a bunch of people. So like it was like the only place where people can go and just like see whatever Indian movies are big, or any Bollywood movies that are big at the time. So it'd be like Friday, Saturday night would just be jam packed with people going to see like all the new movies. And I think at the time, like it was like I don't really remember a lot of them. I remember one was called Diwali, and the only reason I remember that is because it's also a holiday. But like you have to know like there's a bunch of different stuff you have to know, and you wouldn't think that like it would like I didn't know when I first started working there that there's like a million different languages in India, like different dialects and stuff. Or like it's like all based on location, like because you have like off the top of my head, from what I remember still, is like you have Tamil, you have Telugu, you have Malayalam, you have Punjabi. That's only four. But Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Punjabi, there's definitely more. But those are all the ones I still remember. And like people call up like, hey, I want to see this movie at this time. What language is it in? And like it would be like different showings had different languages that'd be running in, so people can go see the movie in their like native tongue or whatever. Like, and so like you'd be like, we got the South Indians are coming in today. We got like the you know what I mean. And like break down the customer base based on all these different things, and like the culture that you would get. Like you just have people singing in the lobby, like full blown belting in the lobby, just like singing songs and shit. They're all chewing like pan, which is kind of like dip, but it's like a leaf. I think it's called pan, but it's like a leaf, and they put it in there, and their teeth are just fucking black. And they're just like spitting on the rug and shit, and like it was a full blown experience working there. And I was like I said, I've always been a bigger dude. So the guy who owned it, he told me that he the only reason he hired me was because I was big, and people would be scared of me. And it's just like that's and I was only in charge of ripping tickets and forming lines. Like that was all I really did there when it was busy. Whenever it got like to a certain point, he'd be like, all right, get out from behind the candy counter and just go get control of this madness that's happening in the lobby. And yeah, I mean, I met a bunch of cool people there. I learned a bunch about the culture. I love the food, like samosas. If you've never had a samosa, or if you've never tried Indian food, like do yourself a favor, eat a samosa. Try some naan. Try some chicken biryani. Chicken biryani is hands down one of like top 10 foods I've ever eaten in my entire life. But yeah, I'm trying to think of any like shenanigans that we ended up getting into while we were there. I mean, it was like it was a first job. It was This is where you learned how to like do anything in a somewhat semi, not even, it wasn't a professional setting at all, but you like just figured out how to do stuff in general, and kind of like learned how the business worked, how a business worked, and kind of just like, okay, we make our money doing this, we don't care about this, this is whatever, make sure this stuff is presentable, people are gonna be in here, blah blah blah. But like it's just like people just getting hammered, and it's just like everyone's trying to sneak food in, and like it's just like they got a full blown like takeout bag, and you're like, hey man, you can't bring that. He's like, come on man, I just bought it. And it's like, well, you knew you were coming here, why'd you buy it? And that kind of stuff. So like that was basically like my job there. That's really not interesting at all. Goddamn, really hurting for stuff here. Yeah, maybe I'll just talk about what I did over the weekend. I ended up on Saturday. My buddy had a birthday party for his daughter, and she just turned 2. She's about a week or two older than my daughters. So we just had a party for her, and like just a little get together. And I live a couple hours away, so it took me about 2 hours to get there. So I ended up going there. It's like 95 degrees outside in the backyard. There's a couple tents and shit, but like my daughters don't want to be in a tent. They want to be running around with the other kids. They want to be doing, playing on the little jungle gym, jumping in the bounce house, like doing all that kind of stuff that kids want to do. But it's literally 90. I think it was 93 degrees outside, and I was like, this is so ass. And there's a bunch of people there, and it's just like all outside. There's not like we're not going inside or whatever. And yeah, it was just super super hot. And then, like the food wasn't bad. I had DCs on deck, so like can't complain. But we're doing the thing, talking, catching up with a couple of my buddies, like seeing his parents. Haven't seen his parents in forever. And like just catching up with like his family and like my friends that are also there, and just talking, watching the girls have a good time, so on and so forth. And like I said, it was 93 degrees, so it was getting hot. So they decided to bring out some stuff for the kids. That was like some water toys for the kids, and they brought out this huge inflatable unicorn that was just shooting that would shoot water out of its horn. And so they set up like a kiddie pool, and they put the front legs inside the kiddie pool, and so the horn is shooting water over the top of them or whatever. And there's like 25 kids trying to get into this kiddie pool, and you're just like, all right, this is just mayhem. And the water pressure is just piss poor, so it's like they're basically just they're getting a half a drop each of all of the water and whatnot. So I was just like, hey man, like he's like, I was like, what's going on with like the water pressure? Is like the hose kinked or something? He's like, nah man, the house just has like really bad water pressure. And I was like, all right, like, let me see if there's a kink or something. So me and a couple of my buddies, we go over and we're checking the hose. And this guy has about at least a football field's worth of hose. Like I'm talking 3 to 4 hoses all tied in together, just crumbled up. Like it's not even like neatly done in a way where it's like, okay, water's free flowing. Like it was just awful. You know what I mean? Like it was just, there's just kinks everywhere, a kink every 10 feet in this hose. And, and we're like, okay, like one hose will do the job. So maybe that way we don't have to unkink 150 yards of hose. We can just undo 2 of the hoses, and we can put one hose onto the house. And we're like, yeah, that's a good idea. We could just unkink that one. Everything works out, and the better water pressure, kids get more water. So we go to we go to take the hose off, and we can't get it. And like it's already like a jank setup, right? Like like a hose, like you usually have that little like that little wheel thing that you spin for the valve. He didn't have one of those. He had a hand of, or he had like pliers on there, like not channel locks, but like it's like basically like pliers. And that's how you turn the water on and off. And we're just like, okay, like let's try to undo the hose. And we couldn't get it. It was like too tight. I was like, hey man, do you have like a bigger set of like pliers or something that we can use to, or like channel locks, or like or like an adjustable wrench or something that we can use to take this hose off. And he's like, yeah. And he goes and he grabs it, and he hands it to my buddy. My buddy's like, nah, I think you should do it. Like it's your house. Like I don't want to mess anything up. And I shit you not. Like he puts the pliers on, and he's like wrenching it. He's going hard. He's putting full amount of his devious body into it. He's just putting so much torque on this wrench, just absolutely snaps his pipe. Just snaps his pipe, and now there's water flying out of his house. And honestly, it wasn't a lot of water, so it probably was his water pressure. Like, yeah, sure, there was a couple kinks, and it was 150 feet of hose, but like the amount of water that was coming out really wasn't a lot. And it was like, okay, that makes sense. Like, he honestly doesn't really have that good of water pressure, so it was all for nothing anyway. And now the kids don't have a unicorn to play with, and now there is no water at all. But now we're just going back and forth. Like, he's in the basement, they're banging on the window. Is the water stopping yet? And it's just like, no. And he's like, he didn't have any like actual shutoffs and shit. Like, he had to like do some janky ass shit to get the water to shut off, and it's just like a whole experience. Shortly after that, I was like, all right, it's time to get out of here. It's 150 degrees outside. Like, we really need to get going. We got a 2 hour drive back, and I knew the girls are gonna be exhausted because they were beat. Right, they look like little tomatoes by the time we left there, and they were all like sweaty and shit. So it was like, all right, now they're trying to like they're like going under tables and stuff to cool down. So like, okay, it's time, and they're like getting because they're getting like restless and stuff too. So and also they would periodically try to run back out into the sun, and I just wasn't having it. I was not doing it. But yeah, I mean, maybe try to wheel again. I don't know. I'm at 52 minutes, but like I really didn't talk for like 15 minutes of that. So we'll see what ended up getting edited. Maybe a short episode. I don't know. Try the wheel one time. We'll just send it. Fake your backstory if you join the witness protection program, but you're a robot. Okay, let's try that out. All right, so the prompt is fake your backstory if you're in the witness protection program and you're a robot. So we're gonna try to go with something a little bit more futuristic, right? Because I'm a robot, and that means I've had to have like jobs before. It's hard to do with looking at another person here because I feel like there has to be like some type of conversation, or else I'm just explaining as a robot, and there's no like, yeah, like where are you from type thing. You know what I mean? All right, we're gonna run it off the hip here. Hello, my name is Clyde. Yes, it's nice to meet you. Oh, me? I used to work in a laundromat. I'm from Cincinnati. Yes. Yes, I love Skyline chili. Of course, I've had Skyline chili. I love the sweetness that Skyline chili has. Yes, I used to work as a washing machine. I mean, a person in a laundromat who would fold the clothes. Yes, I've worked many odd jobs when I was in Cincinnati. That was just so I could make it through college. Oh, what did I go to school for? I went to school for engineering. I mean, political science. Yes, I had a minor in economics. Now I work as an ice cream man. Oh, you think that I can't be an ice cream man? Why? Why would you say that I can't be an ice cream man? How dare you? You're saying that I sound like a robot? I am a man. And how else would I be able to work as an ice cream man if I were not a man? This is a terrible bit. Yes, I was born. Yeah, it all started out when I was born in a warehouse. I mean, Cincinnati. I was born at Cincinnati International Hospital. Can hospitals be international? I don't know. So bad. Yes, but as I was saying, I grew up in Cincinnati, and I worked a couple of odd jobs as a washing machine. I mean, a person in a dry cleaner. I like to fold and hem clothes. When I went to college, I used to get so fucked up when I went to parties. Oh, you think I sound like Stephen Hawking? Well, I'm not Stephen Hawking. My name is Clyde. Clyde McRoboterson. Clyde McRoboterson from Cincinnati. Yes, that is my name. I am definitely not a robot. Why would I say so? I wouldn't say anything like that. Why would I say something like that? This is going to have to be heavily edited. I can't really think of anything besides I'm from Cincinnati. Oh, you're my favorite food? I love WD-40. That was outrageous. Let me stop there.